Hello and welcome to the Business as Unusual podcast. I'm your host, Rick Yvanovich, and today I have with me Laura Noël. Now, Laura, you're the Head of Partnerships of EMEA at Yooz. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you for the invitation.
You're more than welcome. Now, that's a big title, Head of Partnerships.
Isn't it?
It sounds big. I'm just curious, though, because I think you've only been at this company Yooz for a year or so. Yeah. What's your career path been to get you to where you are now?
Yeah, it's a good question. I started my career 10 years ago. So I did, I would say, quite classical educational path. And I was quite fast, I would say. I didn't lose any time. This is quite the French way, you know. And I was very excited, actually, to enter the workforce, which is weird, but I was very excited. I was very curious. So I started 10 years ago, and I started in a very entrepreneur ecosystem environment, and I really loved it. And I think this is just the best way to really learn and to grow and to start a career. I would encourage, to be honest, any student to start this way. So it gave me so many opportunities that I could actually grow and learn, I guess, faster. And yep, I started in the mobile industry, so not really in the IT industry, but I always had this experience. I built the experience of sales, direct and indirect sales experience along the way. And starting in the mobile industry. And my last job experience was in Hong Kong, actually.
Hong Kong.
So I lived, I lived a few years in Hong Kong. And I think this is also a way to learn more, I would say, and even faster, because everything goes so fast. It has been an unbelievable experience. And then after COVID, I came back home in Paris, in France. And this is how I found my way to Yooz and this position. And I was very happy.
Fantastic. So what do you like best about what you actually do?
Oh, and that's a good question. I really do think that I have the best job in the world. So, and I do think so. What I love is, my job is basically to talk with partners to understand their job, their business, and then to really think strategically, okay, this is what you need, this is what you do, how we can actually collaborate and create business together. And from my point of view, this is more interesting than direct sales and so I've been quite thriving in this job because of this, partnership and collaboration construction that I think is very interesting.
Okay. And what is it that makes you smile?
I don't know. Any little tiny thing in the life, I would say. Yeah. There is one thing that I really love is starting my day with loud music and then starting dancing. Basically, it's what I do. Yeah. And this really makes me smile and start the day in the best way possible. It's really getting the energy out of the music.
So loud music or any loud music or specific loud music?
No, depends on the mood, but it's starting the day, it can be loud and very commercial music, that just makes you move.
Okay. So, if you could have a walk-on song, what would it be then?
It really depends on the mood and and on the, I would say what was the last hit, but can be from, I don't know, like Gloria Taylor to U2 to any Miley Cyrus and Selena Gomez. I mean, it really can be, or also Guns N' Roses or Bob Dylan. It's
Okay.
so I'm quite like,
wide.
yes,
right.
wide, and it really depends on the mood.
So it's really depending on your mood. Okay. So what makes you feel inspired to be your best self?
That's a good question. A tricky one. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I guess this is almost like I feel like I'm talking to my psychologist, you know. But
You have a psychologist?
No. But that's a good question. I think it just I want to build a life that makes me happy, and I think I'm lucky with one thing is I know what makes me happy. So I'm just like, I just want to build a life that allows me to, I love traveling, I love meeting new people, new cultures. I love Africa, for example. I travel a lot in Africa, and I want to build a career like around this that allow me to actually meet people and everything.
Okay, so what does make you happy then?
Yes, what does me? Simple things, to be honest. So as I said, I really strive when I meet new people, new cultures. I'm very curious. Like since forever, I've been really curious and always asking questions, and so learning, I would say, on a daily basis. This is what makes me happy because this is how I can feel accomplished and like, oh, I'm here for something, you know?
Okay. Now, you've had, you said you started off in an entrepreneurial way.
Yeah.
Okay. Has there been any mentor or any guide that's helped you in your career journey and growth?
Yeah, that's a good, yes, actually, yes. And actually, some of them was entrepreneur. And I have like, Rick, you're an entrepreneur. Like you're like a true entrepreneur. And I have a lot of admiration for you and all the other entrepreneurs around the world. And so I have a few mentors, and it really evolved when I was young. And then I really looked up at some people. And now I feel like maybe they are not my mentor anymore. It might be someone else. But now we have this very strong relationship. And what is also interesting is sometimes, and I'm thinking specifically to someone, it can be the other way around, you know, because we both grew, and I also can help up maybe on taking a step back and giving some advices. But yes, it has been very important for me. But one regret that I have is they almost always were male mentor, and I think I never had really like female mentor.
How come?
No, I swear.
No, but why? Why all male?
I don't know. I think that, so I come from the mobile industry, and to be honest, this is a real, it's quite male-driven industry, you know. So this is just the reality as well of the business. I think women are more rare, I would say. And I don't know. But I'm more than, for example, today at Yooz, this is the first time in my life, and I've been working for 10 years, that actually my boss's boss is a woman.
Oh.
And so I can't say that she's my mentor, but this is something that I really liked when I was, you know, discussing with Yooz before I arrived. And I told her name is Magali, and I told Magali, oh, you know, this is actually the first one that I got an interview by a woman, and it feels great. Finally, you know, after 10 years in the workforce. So yeah, that's a reality.
Okay, so I know this, is this your first visit to Vietnam?
No, I mean, business wise,
yeah.
yes, but no, it's actually my third time.
Okay, but from a business perspective, given that you've engaged with more business type people here, rather than maybe being here as on holiday or as a tourist, what are your first impressions?
Wow, dynamic, vibrant, yes, and yeah, I would say that would be the two words that actually come in my mind immediately. And so I came to Ho Chi Minh 10 years ago, and I don't remember seeing so many skyscrapers, you know? It's insane. I think that grew up a lot. And that's the image as well of the dynamic, business dynamic, I'm quite sure. So no, I've been quite impressed actually. Because I spent a few years in Hong Kong, but there are so many other big cities in Asia where actually there are a lot of business happening.
Okay. Now, I know you've obviously traveled a lot. You've worked in different countries. You're now dealing with partners in different countries as well. What's the most unusual experience you've ever had in your business career so far?
I mean, that's a good question. I never, to be honest, I never experienced any weird thing. It's just one thing. It's in a general way. It's when you do international business, you actually do geopolitics. And this is the reality. So I was living in Hong Kong during, you know, the COVID and all the geopolitics that happened in 2019 and 2020. And this is just a good example. But so you have to deal with actually quite, geopolitics and this, for me, it's quite exciting, actually.
Yeah?
It's very interesting. But so not like real fun facts, to be honest. But you have to face some geopolitics, and that's interesting.
You enjoy that, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's business.
Yeah.
Let's put business aside. Let's put career aside. Let's put work aside. What's the most unusual experience you've had just in your life?
Oh my God, got plenty. Yes, so actually I did a big trip back in 2018. I did the Burkina Faso in Africa, and actually I traveled by myself in motorbike in Burkina Faso. And this led me to some tricky and interesting situations. And I think the unusual fact is, so, you know, in Africa and specifically in Burkina Faso, you have different communities, and they have, each one of them have their own, how do you say that? Their own way to live this world, you know? And I met, so in Burkina Faso, one day I met a king.
A king?
A king.
Randomly?
No, randomly. So I was in a specific part of the country, and that was a specific community. And this community is actually, they have a king. And so I met with someone, and they say, "Oh, you have to meet the king." And I was like, really? So it's called in French, it's called, because they speak French in Burkina Faso, is Le Roi des Gants. So Gant, king. And the Gant community is actually like a few hundred people in Burkina Faso. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And actually, so they asked for the permission to meet the king, and I was there, and I had an interview with the king, and that was very interesting. So that was maybe not, you know, Edward III. No, it's King No, the new king in no, it's not Edward.
Oh, Charles.
Charles, sorry. Anyway, yeah, but now you're Vietnamese, I guess.
I'm Vietnamese, yeah.
But yeah, so that was a fun experience, and this is the reality of traveling and being curious and meeting people and new cultures and not judging it as well. This is very important, and really embracing those new cultures.
Now, okay, it's sort of work-related question here. I know Yooz is into a procure-to-pay. It's a procure-to-pay solution. What I'm curious about is, with all the partners that you're working with and all the companies you're working across the world, can you see any trends around procure-to-pay adoption?
Yes, I mean, yes, and you know what? Yooz is quite lucky because there is a huge demand, and it's not only in France, it's really globally. There is a huge demand around how I can automate all of those account, payable, P2P processes, because this is just a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like really, it's just so big companies have to deal with thousands and thousands, if not millions of invoices. So you have to process them, you have to approve them, you have to do everything. But this doesn't create value for your company. So it's just like, it's basically it costs the company without creating any value. So, and more, and since COVID, we saw quite a boom in this. It's like, okay, but now we need to actually automate this and make it digital, you know. And this has been a global trend. So all the resellers, integrators, IT partners we work with are really looking for such solutions. And we're not the only one in the market, you know. We have competitors, of course, in each country. But yeah, it has been quite booming.
Okay. And now it's available with Sun Systems.
Yeah, and I'm so happy with this. It's been actually a few months of work, and not only for me. So the whole Yooz team actually worked for this, and with the Infor team, it has been a true collaboration for a few months, actually.
Are you seeing any differences across different regions? You know, are some regions moving faster than others? Or is it determined by company size or?
No, so it's a good question. It's related to countries and including with the e-invoicing topic. And e-invoicing topic is global. So France, we are moving into it. Germany did as well, Italy as well. And actually, so I work as well in the Middle East. And Middle East as well, they're getting there. So there is this kind of global push from the States to push for the e-invoicing. So on that part, I would say that's really country by country, and each one goes at their own pace. Spain, we're getting there as well. And you mentioned Vietnam. I was not aware. And then, depending on the companies and their willingness also for change and for implementing new processes, then it can also go quite fast. But then it's really at the company level, I would say.
Yeah. And do people moving to this, do they get a good return on investment? I mean, a lot of the large companies you've been talking about, if they got thousands or millions, you would typically outsource that. To a country where labor is cheaper, and they will process all that paper for you. So are we seeing those companies, when they move to P2P, they don't need that type of outsourcing or at that level? Yeah?
That's a good thing. I mean, first of all, to be honest, I don't know at my level, and I don't work directly with the clients, but I don't know any company that actually really outsource this. They work with accountant firms for sure. Sorry, I lost the question. Again, sorry.
I was just trying to find out whether, if they've been outsourcing, I could be a company and we outsource to that firm over there. Okay, and so to answer the question, also what we see, just, there is one metric, one KPI that we look at. It's a churn rate. Okay.
And I can tell that the churn rate, of course, we have some clients that sometimes that decide to not work with Yooz anymore, but the churn rate is so low that I can tell that actually, no, it has been a winning solution. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I agree with you, because at the end of the day, you know, I'm an accountant. I know what it was like decades ago when I started off accounting. Yeah, here's all the paperwork that comes in, and we have to look at it, we have to read it, we have to stamp it, we have to run around the office getting people to approve it, we have to key it. Well, when we got computers, because when I first started we didn't have them, we had to key it in. It doesn't actually require any intellect. It's a very, very basic thing. And you have to do it, but let's just get through it and get on to some real work. Anyway, another question I would like to ask you is, you're clearly well-traveled, okay? You appear to have had a great career. You absolutely love your job, okay? So what's one piece of advice you would give to someone just starting out in their career who wants to be as successful as you?
First of all, you have so many more successful women in this world. It would be two things, to be honest. Is first one, and I think it's just work hard. But if you work hard, you have to love your job. Otherwise, it's just not manageable. And then that might be a bit, but curiosity, be curious. I think being curious, this is, because if you're curious, you will ask many questions to many people. You will create links with people. And I think like being curious has been why I'm here today, because I always ask for more, for understand, okay, what is your job, even within Yooz, like what's your job, what do you do, okay, I don't understand this. I'm not afraid to ask questions. And so it's basically be curious, and if you're curious, you will ask many questions, and ask as many questions as you want. And this is how you will be able to actually grow and learn and become smarter, I guess. And I hope I will still ask questions when I will be 100 years old, you know.
Okay, so what's one question that you thought I'd asked you, or wish that I'd asked you, but I didn't? And whatever it is, how would you have answered it?
So first of all, I didn't have time to imagine anything. Just first of all. No, I don't have anything to say here. I would say, because you sincerely asked the right question, you know, like and the piece of advice, if you would have not asked, actually, I could have said this, but you asked. No, like, what's the next move?
What's the next move? Oh, yeah.
That could be, you know, the next question.
Right. Okay. Maybe you shouldn't be listening to this. So what?
No, not necessarily move out of Yooz, you know, but like just like what's the next goal? I would say. And I can't answer this question yet.
You said you started off very entrepreneurial.
Yes.
But you've been working for other people.
Yeah,
so
that's a good one.
Do we see, you know, do you want to be starting something up yourself in the future? Is that on the cards, maybe?
No. So
shh, Yooz, don't watch.
No, so I've been dreaming about building my own company for so long. I mean, since basically I'm a child. It didn't happen yet. But I guess maybe one day. At the moment, no. I'm really well with my current role at Yooz at the moment. But who knows? And that is something that I've been wanting for a long time, actually. But I guess I didn't get the idea yet. And you know,
Okay.
That might be the next move.
All right. Now, if any of our listeners want to get in touch with you, what's the best way they can find you online?
Yeah, I guess on LinkedIn. I would say that's like the most public place I am. So Laura Noël from Yooz on LinkedIn. More than happy to answer any question any people would have.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. So thank you very, very much, Laura. Thank you for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in here, especially since you had zero notice. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you very much.